Well, welcome everybody to another TargetX product preview series webinar. Today we are going to be highlighting the Decision Cloud by TargetX. This is Brian Niles. I am the founder and chief evangelist here at TargetX, and really excited that you're all here to join us talking about the next part of the recruitment process. Before we get started, a couple housekeeping notes. As always, we do record these webinars, and we'll be sending everyone a link next week to the recording of this event to share with your colleagues. If you have any questions during the webinar today, please feel free to use the question section of the GoToWebinar control panel on your screen, and we'll take some breaks during today's event and review your questions and answer them. And hope that we can get to all the questions today. We've got a great demonstration today of the two versions of our Decision Cloud. But first, before we jump into that, let me introduce my co-presenter, Angel.
Good morning. Good to be here again, Brian. I'm Angel Navedo. I'm director of the Recruitment Cloud here at TargetX, and excited to be here once again to demo one of our newest products.
Very cool. Thanks, Angel, for joining us. As Angel said, good morning. He is on the West Coast. I am on the East Coast.
That's
and,
right.
We've got a lot of you. I see a lot of friendly names in the window here of those joining us today. So thanks so much for taking some time out today to learn more about the Decision Cloud and some of the enhancements and new capabilities that we've put in place with this really exciting tool for college admissions offices. So why don't we jump right into it? We're going to talk a little bit about what it is and some of the capabilities of that, and then Angel's going to spend some time actually showing it to you in a real demo. So first I will jump over to really just describing where does the Decision Cloud fit into the overall process and product scheme here at TargetX. So as a former admissions director, you know, this was an area that was important to me as we were developing these products out. Many of you on today's webinar are utilizing the TargetX CRM prospect solutions, bringing in your prospective student information and communicating with them with all the tools that we've provided to you. Many of you are also using our online application, and if you missed last week's webinar series, we highlighted our new online application coming out in just a couple months. App version 3 is a really exciting offering, and if you haven't seen that, you can get that information and watch the webinar up on our website. But on top of that, once you have all these applications in, you then have to decide who you're going to accept and who won't you be accepting, and that can be, in the past, particularly a challenging process. As one who did this in the real world, I had piles upon piles of files that I took home, and I see a lot of you with dual monitors and juggling between different systems to gather all the information you need to make proper decisions. But we're trying to change all that. We're trying to revolutionize the way that you review and process applications as well. And that's where Angel's going to take over and tell you a little bit about the Decision Cloud.
Yeah, so as pardon me, as Brian mentioned, a lot of schools are still using paper. I used paper when I was in admissions, and it's a bad user experience. You know, carrying around bags of applications, there's paper cuts. It's also a bad interface. It's difficult to sort through paper, difficult to find information quickly. It's just an inefficient process. A long processing time. It's difficult to automate. Brian also mentioned, you know, when people graduate from paper, a lot of folks use imaging systems. It takes the paper and essentially puts it on your computer screen. But what we've heard is, a lot of these systems are also a bad user experience. You know, Brian mentioned the multiple screens, so having to manage looking at images on one screen and entering information on another screen. That's also inefficient. So, you know, the paper is gone, which is great, but the review time is no faster. And certainly with the growth of application numbers, efficiency is important. And so we are happy and excited and proud to present today our full Decision Cloud product. It's one system, so prospect through to decision. We built it with efficiency in mind, and I'll show you some of the ways that we did that. A compelling user interface is part of that. So it's intuitive, and a great user experience was what we had in mind when we built that product. Decision Cloud, last year we introduced the iPad Decision Cloud product, which is, great for on-the-go admissions offices. Great for people who are traveling a lot and need to be able to read when they're, wherever they are. But we know many customers need a way to review applications right within the CRM. And so along with our mobile solution today, we're happy to introduce Decision Cloud Web, application review from within the CRM. So now you can review applications both on your laptops, on your desktops, as well as on the iPad through Decision Cloud.
And one of the big reasons that we heard from our customers as to the need to have a web-based version as well as what is a very cool iPad version as well is that particularly for graduate schools or schools that have a lot of faculty doing application reading for very limited parts of time during the year, that they don't need a full-blown CRM license. They might not even want to invest in a full iPad for each faculty member, but could they at least go on a website, a secured website, and be able to see who they have to review and review it right there? And that's really this new capability that we're adding and showing off today.
So Decision Cloud, built to efficiently review applications, help you and your reviewers make data-driven decisions. So there are a lot of features that help build in a rubric and add evidence so that your reviewers are making decisions based on the data that they're assessing. Helps you select the best fit class, and as we've said, now available both on the iPad and within the TargetX CRM. There are a number of advantages to the Decision Cloud product. One is it's mobile and web ready, so you get the offline capabilities of mobile review. So if your reviewers are doing a lot of travel, sitting in their cars waiting for an information session or a school visit, they can pull up their iPad, and whether or not they have Wi-Fi, they can be reading applications. Then we have the web review, which is a native Salesforce reader. You get the full power of the Salesforce platform and our CRM, no iPad required. As I've mentioned, it's an intuitive and compelling user experience designed for efficiency, and you can access applicant data quickly where and when you need it. Sophisticated automation of the review process, a lot of power here in the CRM related to automating your review. So you can, and we'll demo some of this, you can create new reviews automatically based on specific conditions that you set. You can update fields within a student record based on values that have been entered by a reviewer. A lot of power here in the automation. We're really excited about what we'll be showing you today. And again, data-driven decisions. In this world where we're getting a lot of applications and we're looking to make sure we're admitting the right class for our specific schools, you want to be able to calibrate your readers and ensure that they're using rubrics and using evidence-based scoring to make those decisions. We're going to walk through a few key terms that I'll be sharing as I go through the demo. So an application review is simply a review of an application by a reviewer in a specific role. We talk about review roles. That's within the system called an application review type. That's essentially any stage of review, like first reader, second reader, director, faculty reader, or it could be a special kind of reader, like international student reader or transfer reader. So those are review types within the system, and you can customize layouts and scores based on those application review types.
I think that's one area, by the way, Angel, that I think is really important for schools, because every school has a different way of reading their applications. I've seen some incredibly sophisticated multi-tier, multi-level review types and roles, and then I've seen some that it's basically thumbs up, thumbs down, and it's with one person and they can make the decision from there. And this system really accommodates both of those and everything in between.
Absolutely. The reviewer is the person who reviews the application. And in this system, we are assigning applications to a specific person for review. And I'll talk about if you have a queue system, how that will work. Assign is to assign an application to a reviewer in a given review role. A score field, we're calling a score field any custom field that a reviewer is entering assessment data into. So think, final decision, any summary comments. If you're scoring on competencies or on various components, those would all be considered score fields. So anything the reviewer is entering data into during the review, we're calling score fields. Then once we get into the reader, you'll see bookmarks, which are links to specific pages of the application PDF, and then the profile, which is a page of the PDF that displays values from the CRM. So you can map specific values from an applicant record directly into the PDF for our applicants.
Just so everybody knows, there will not be a test at the end of this, but thanks for the overview of terms, very useful. All right, cool. So let's get into a demonstration. Let's take a look at what we've got. I'm going to pass over controls to you, Angel, here, and let you take control of the screen.
Perfect. All right, so I'm going to be demoing the web version first, and then the iPad after that. Brian,
good. So the web version, as you're bringing that up, it's coming up on the screen now. This is new. This has actually been just released this year. As you can see, it's all based on the Salesforce platform, which is TargetX's CRM platform that we have built on top of. And take it away, Angel.
Yeah, so those of you who are CRM customers, this looks somewhat familiar. Some of the tabs here, and there's this new tab called Applications Reviews, which you'd get with Decision Cloud. So a little background. So we are currently in an MBA program. So we're an MBA program, and we've just launched our TargetX online application. We've got these 15 applicants. And the way we manage our review process is we have these various application statuses. So it starts with processing. So when the applications come in, they're all set to processing, and we move them to the various buckets as we get more material. So we might, after we've looked at an application, we might consider it incomplete, or if it's complete, if all the required materials have been received, then we'd mark them as complete and pending review. Once a decision's been made, so once the applicant's gone through the review process and received a final decision, we mark them as complete decision made, and then there's some other options there as well. So just to give you a sense of that. So here we have our 15 applicants. We have some of them who are incomplete and some who are in the processing stage. If I wanted to manually assign an application to a reviewer, I could do that. So I can click on any of these checkboxes here, or I can click on all of them, and I can click this Assign button. And here it will ask me to choose an owner. So who is the person that's reading these applications? Currently our readers are Brian Naz and Angel Novedo. I'll send these to Brian. You choose that application review type. So this is the role that you want the reader to read the application in. So here, MBA Reader 1. And then we give you the ability to enter a start date and due date. On the web, this is mainly so that you can manage your reviewers. You can set specific dates and then create reports to say, how many of my reviewers are overdue on the applications we assigned them last week. On the iPad, once I show you the iPad, these dates actually determine when the assignments appear on the iPad and when they disappear from the iPad, because we don't want applicant data persisting on the iPads longer than it needs to. So this is how I would create a first-time review. Just create these 4 required fields along with the applicant. I'd save, and all of these reviews would be created. I'm not going to do that because I want to show you how you would automate that process. So let me just quickly go to the Applications Review tab. You see here we have no reviews. I have a few different application list views set up here, and currently, because we just received these applications, no reviews have been created as of yet. I do want to talk quickly about these list views before I automate the review. So you can create pretty powerful filtered lists of your applicant pool. Here I've created some pretty simple lists based on our application status. but there's unlimited ability for you to create various lists of students, whether it's by region or by program they've applied to, or any of the fields that exist within the CRM. You can filter and display in a list such as this one. So here I have my incomplete applicants, and it'll filter down to just those incompletes, or my processing applicants, and these are all the folks that are in the processing status. So in this org, we've created an automation where as soon as an application status has been changed to complete pending review, it creates an assignment for reader Angel Nevedo in the MBA Reader 1 role. So I'm going to click in on Jessica Smith's application, and I'm just going to show you here. So here's the application reviews, and you see that there are none currently listed. If I change her to complete pending review and save, you'll see now that a new review has been created. And if I now go into the application reviews and click on in progress reviews here, I see that Jessica Smith has been assigned to A. Nevedo in the MBA Reader 1 role. So it's not, a step has been saved, and you can really automate your process based on specific rules.
Angel, since we have everybody muted, I'm just going to say how cool that is. What I really like about that too is that it can be as sophisticated as the college wants it to be. So you can have that, as we talked about, multiple tiers set up. So as you've got a person that is completed, it can automate setting up all the reader stages along the way without having to do that manually. And I think that's a big plus. You've got operations people in the admissions operations offices who many times are doing this manually. I've seen that happen. I've seen how it works, and it's a time-consuming task trying to figure out who is supposed to read what next. I've even seen schools where folders are still literally being passed from one office to the next. Here we can automate that whole process. And as soon as Reader 1 is done, it goes right on to Reader 2, and it's documented automatically. And those awesome operations people can do other things that are probably more important in their time in helping you get that best fit class in there. So very cool, the automation.
Great, thank you, Brian. So here I can now see in my complete pending review list view, now I see Jessica with that application status that I've updated. I'm just going to make one more. So I'm going to assign Diana here as well. Just change her to, this is so I can show you further on down the line how we can automate the next stage of review. So make her complete pending review. Again, here there's no review here. I'll save. And now a new review has been created for Diana Martez as well. Clicking over to the application review tab, so I have some various list views here. Completed reviews, which is currently blank. Haven't completed any yet. All of my reviews and in progress reviews. So my in progress, these are the two that I just created. The MBA Reader 1 for Jessica Smith, assigned to me, and the MBA Reader 1 for Diana Martez, also assigned to me. I'm going to jump into the application reader by clicking on the box next to the review and clicking this Read Applications button. And I'll come back and explain some of these other buttons here as well. So clicking this launches our TargetX application reader. As you'll notice in the URL at the top, this is a Visualforce page, so this is native Salesforce. You're not leaving the system, and there's a lot of value in having this be a native Salesforce platform. I'll walk through some of the components here. So I talked about efficiency. Part of the efficiency is being able to navigate through the PDF quickly and efficiently. We've heard from some customers who use other systems that there's a lot of different images, a lot of different PDFs or documents that they have to click around through. They're not always well named, so they have to memorize what page something's on, for example, or it's more difficult to find things. And here, the bookmark concept is what we talked about earlier, where you can click on a bookmark and it'll take you directly to a page within the PDF. This PDF is actually a merged PDF. Any application materials that have been submitted, so any essays, recommendations, transcripts, the actual application that the applicant filled out, All of that is available to be displayed here, and we merge it into one PDF, which gives you, a one seamless, smooth reading experience. So I can scroll this PDF and look through all the materials, or I can jump directly to specific pages by clicking on these bookmarks. So here's my essay, here are my recommendations, etc.
We've also got the mini thumbnail option there, if you can see the tiny pieces of the puzzle and scroll through those as well.
Yeah, so I can quickly get a sense of how many pages are here, and if I'm looking for a transcript, easy to find that purple page. Some of the other components for navigation, the thumbnails is one. Another is moving from page to page, so I can just click next if I don't want to scroll, or previous. I also see how many pages my merged PDF is here, and I can jump to a specific page. So if I did know that page 6 said something meaningful, I can go to page 6 by clicking or typing the 6 into that box. I can also search through all these merged PDFs. So if I'm looking for TargetX not found. Oops, this is the wrong PDF. If I'm looking for Jessica, I can find all the Jessicas within this PDF. So very cool, very easy to get through and find the information that you need when you're navigating the PDF. There's also zoom, so if I want to zoom in or zoom out or set an automatic zoom, I have that ability. And finally, there's the ability to rotate the page. So if something's been scanned in and it's landscape, a transcript, for example, I can rotate the page clockwise or counterclockwise.
Are you saying that someone might have scanned the document the wrong direction?
It never happens, but in the rare case. I want to talk through this first page because this is a powerful piece of this product. This first page is what we call the profile, and it is actually mapping fields from the CRM directly into this first page of the PDF. So any information you have on Jessica Smith, anything that she submitted via the application, any material, any values that you've saved during her prospect phase of the recruitment cycle, you can display those here. And so you give your readers access to the information they need about Jessica beyond just what she's submitted within the application in a nice, streamlined and easy to read page on this profile. Once I'm ready to score Jessica, I can click on this Show Scorecard, and that will load all of the score areas that we've configured for this MBA Reader 1. All the application review types can be configured to have the same bookmarks and same score fields, or if you have specific needs, if there's a pick list that might be a little bit different for a specific application review type, we can set these score fields and pick lists to vary based on your needs for all of those application review types. So I'm going to expand academics here, and it will show a rubric. So we give you the opportunity to enter a rubric where I'm not just entering a score of 5 here, but I'm showing a description of what a 5 means for academics in this specific review role. We also have a text box for evidence. So as I'm looking through the application, I might want to, excuse me, I might want to score or add evidence on why I think Jessica is a specific score on our academic scale. So this is part of that data-driven review, asking your readers to provide evidence for any score that they're giving, positive or negative, so that you're able to calibrate your readers and you know exactly why they're rating applicants the way that they're rating them. So this is a demo example of some of the score fields that we've configured, but obviously we'd work with you to determine what your scales are, what the rubrics are, and what score fields you'd want to include in this section here. One cool feature that I want to make sure I show is we don't want your reviewers ever to lose review data. And so as soon as I enter any information here, this data will be saved. Let me just go to my Application Reviews tab and click All Reviews. So this is Jessica Smith's review page. So these are the scores that I've set up, and the evidence boxes over here to the right. So I'll just show you, as soon as I enter a score, I don't have to save or do anything else. That 5 will display within this score field. So automatically saving, also for any evidence. So if I've been typing and adding evidence, Jessica has great grades in tough curriculum. I don't have to click out. I don't have to do anything else. If I reload this page over here, I'm going to see that that text has been entered into these score fields. So, if lunch arrives and someone's mid-review and they leave their office and come back an hour later and Salesforce has logged them out, you don't have to worry about anyone losing any review data. All that in-progress data is saved. This application will remain in progress until I click this submit button at the bottom. When I click that button, 2 things happen. One is it will enter a timestamp into this date completed field. So it'll show my local time here on 5/20 at 11:26, and it will also check this completed checkbox. Once that's been done, I can no longer edit this application. So I can come back in and I can view my comments and my scores, but I can no longer edit this specific review unless a super user comes in and unchecks that completed box and lets me know that I can now go back and edit. So as long as that completed box is checked, these reviews are not editable by your reviewers. One other thing to mention is you can set specific score fields to be required. I know when I was in admissions, that was something that I desperately wished we had in paper, is we'd get back scorecards and there'd always be a bunch of comments for a specific score, but no number circled, and I'd have to hunt people down to get their final scores. So here I can set all of these fields or just the decision field required so that I cannot submit this application until I've entered a value into those fields. I've set up a couple automations here, just as an example of what might happen, after that first review. So the first automation is if I admit Jessica, then our process in TargetX University's MBA program is anyone with a recommendation of admit needs to be interviewed. So by clicking admit here, a couple things are going to happen. One is it will create a new review assigned to Brian Niles, my supervisor, who will then interview this candidate in the MBA interviewer role. Another thing that will happen is that that first application view, you remember the application status is complete pending review. It's going to update that status to complete decision made. So you see this complete decision made list view, which is currently empty. It's going to change that to complete decision made and also enter the decision that I entered in this application decision field for Jessica Smith. So let me go ahead and admit Jessica.
She better be a good one. This is a competitive MBA program here at TargetX University.
It really is. That was up and coming. Great candidate. All right, I'm going to submit this. So now it'll take me back to the application review tab. I see now that I have a completed review with that completed checkbox entered, the date completed time and my local Pacific time. If I go to the applications tab and go to complete decision made, now I'll see that Jessica Smith has been updated from complete decision review pending to complete decision made, and that decision has been entered in this application decision field, which is a different field than the one that I entered in the application reviews. This one's on the application object. So you can imagine the automations you can create, updating fields, creating new reviews based on what happens during your review.
Angel, I see as you're hovering over some of those fields that it looks like they're editable. I assume, and want to make sure that our attendees are aware of this, that's because you have super user rights to that. You have the rights to be able to change that, whereas probably many of the staff won't have that capability. They'll have to go through the process to actually do that, to make those changes to those fields.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm seeing here that your reviewers would not be able to see. And that is part of the power of the CRM as well, is you can create pretty advanced user profiles and security permissions to to allow them to do what they need to do, but not allow them to do what your users to do what you want to control. So go back to the application reviews tab and show you now. Just do all reviews and show you that that new review has been created. So that was the second thing that happened, is now Jessica Smith has been assigned to Brian Niles in the MBA interviewer role. Just so I can show you the other automation we've set up. So this was if I admitted someone. If I don't admit, so if I choose waitlist or deny for MBA Reader 1, then what happens is we still want at least 2 sets of eyes on every application. So that will create an MBA Reader 2 review for Brian Niles to review. So let me just go into Diana's application here. When I come in, the first thing that happens is it loads the bookmarks, and then it will load the PDF. So once that's done, I can go on the scorecard, enter a decision of waitlist. She's pretty good. So let's see. All right. And I'll submit this review. So again, this will do the same thing in the application object. It's going to update Diana's application status and enter her decision. And I'll show you that. So I'll go to complete decision made, and here I now see 2 applications. Diana's been waitlisted and complete decision made. And if I go back to application reviews and all my reviews, I see now that Diana's been assigned to Brian Niles in that MBA Reader 2 role. So really excited about this automation. You can just move applications from reader to reader, review stage to review stage, quickly and efficiently, and get your best fit class as quickly and as efficiently as you need to.
Very cool. All right, and while you're switching over to the next part, I just want to remind everybody that if you have any questions for Angel or myself, please feel free to use the questions item there on your GoToWebinar control panel, and we'll take a few minutes here at the end to go through your questions and answer those here.
So I just wanted to highlight a couple other kind of more operations or admin features that are part of this reading experience. So you see some buttons here that not all your reviewers would see all these buttons, but again, I'm a super user, so I see all of them. One is change owner. This can be used in a couple of different ways. So I can simply click on one of these applicants, or multiple, or all of them, and I can change the owner by clicking this and just search on all of our users and find Angel Novato, and I can now update this, and this will update all those reviews to be now assigned to me. So this can be used if someone's traveling or is sick and unavailable, and you really need applications reviewed, and they've been assigned to someone specific. You can, as long as they're not in progress, you can reassign them. You can assign them in progress as well, but the data will go with them. So it's something to be careful of. So I can assign them to a new person. This is also how you might manage a queue system. So you can have that first review automatically assigned to kind of a generic user, maybe maybe the dean is the owner, but then reviewers will come in and they'll select which ones they want to read, and they can just use that change owner button to say, I want to read these 2 people, so assign me to those applications. So that's how a queue system might work. A super user piece of functionality is update scores. So I know some admissions offices, there are reasons why you might want to update across a set of applicants for a number of reasons. So you can create a list view here, create a filtered view, and select all the applicants and update any of the score fields that have been configured. So if I wanted to update the decision of this group of applicants to something specific, I can do that here. Or I could change a score of one of the other, any of the other score fields that are available. Once I select that score, I see a definition of it, and I see the pick list values for the specific score. So again, super user. This is a dangerous functionality, and this is something we'd recommend you allow only your directors, operations, and admissions directors to be able to do. All right, Brian, any other things, or should I jump into the iPad decision cloud?
That's pretty awesome. Let me have you answer one question that we have. We've got a couple of questions, but one in particular where you're at. How do we mark documents as insufficient in the decision cloud? So this is somebody who's reading an application. I presume that as they're reading it, they realize they just don't have enough information. So I assume that would be one of the statuses that you could select.
Yeah, absolutely. So it could be its own score field. So it could be a checkbox someone enters, or it could be one of in the pick list of the final decision. So the decision could be insufficient, which would kick off, and that could kick off an email to someone or create a task for someone to follow up on this application. So there are a number of ways you could handle that. I could also imagine a text box where you'd explain why it was insufficient, and then someone could use that information to follow up and move that application through to your process.
Cool. And we'll take one other question here. We'll get to the other ones in a few minutes. The data elements merged into the PDF, is that done via Conga or the TargetX system?
That's done through the TargetX system. Yes, great question. So that's through the TargetX system. We've done lots of coding to make that magic happen. So again, any fields within your CRM you can display on that page.
Cool. And then since we're on assignment here, we'll take one more. It's just got it in here. So can the assignment tool assign to random users? Can it do workload balancing? Can they assign applications that look like one particular type to different people, take everybody with a GPA of 3.0 or higher and assign it to somebody? What kind of flexibility in the assignment rules automation do our colleges have?
With the random assignments, this is a very new product, so I haven't thought through all of the use cases. I'm pretty sure we could do that. Brian, I might need your help on this one. I know we have the group assignment functionality, so I'm assuming we can combine those two to assign kind of round robin the way we do with our group assignments.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure that's exactly how we do it. But good question, and we'll make sure that we do a quick test on that. I'll write down your name here to make sure that we get back to you on that. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that's how we do it in assigning contact owners, and we utilize very similar capabilities there. Also has the capability of looking beyond just simply randomness, but also looking at different criteria, whether it's from a particular state or a particular country or a particular GPA average higher than whatever can be assigned based on those characteristics.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. Shall we jump into the iPad?
You got it.
All right.
You're so good at flipping over to the iPad versions.
Thank you.
This is why I love doing these webinars with you, Angel. So take it away. This is a great tool as well. I love this tool if you've got an iPad on hand.
Great. So a lot of the concepts that, a lot of the kind of operations concepts that we just walked through on the web are exactly the same for the iPad. The main difference is when you wouldn't click read application within the reader, your readers would load their iPads, tap this sync button, and then all these assignments would appear on the iPad. So this you can consider like a list view. So this is the list of my applicants. I'm Kate Martinez in this example, and I've been assigned these 5 applicants in specific review roles. So here I see on these cards, each one of these cards represents one application assignment. So Carlos here went to Springfield North High, and his intended major is psychology, and here I see his combined SAT score on the right. Just like the list views, you can determine what fields you want displayed here. So we'll work with you to figure out what fields you want. I showed MBA on the web, so here is a high school undergrad admissions version. I mentioned the date due, so here at the top right I see December 30 at 4 p.m. That's when these assignments would disappear from my iPad. Usually schools will set those a little closer than the end of the year, but it's up to you to determine when you want the assignments to disappear from iPads. I can filter this list. So if I'm looking for someone specific, I can search for Carlos, or if I'm looking for a specific high school, I can filter down to Clinton High, my alma mater. I can also sort this list similar to on the web, so I can sort by high school or sort by SAT score, or any of the fields that you see here, first name, last name, review role, etc., are sortable. I do see that I'm reader 1 for 4 of these assignments, and I'm the director for one of them. So here, and I'll jump into director after I show you a reader 1. But similar to what I described on the web, you can configure these various review types to have specific characteristics. So I could have these layouts vary based on review type. There might be a flag that I want to see as a director, or that I want my directors to see, that is not necessary for my first readers to see. And we can configure these layouts, these specific cards, and any of the layouts that I'll be showing you to be customized by application review type. So I'm going to tap William Sanders here. And first page is the profile. So similar to the mapped PDF in the CRM, this is going to be mapping in fields from the CRM for this applicant. And you'll select which specific fields you want to see on a view such as this one. We also have that bookmark capability. So here at the bottom, I see the various bookmarks for this, this PDF. It is a merged PDF, just like on the web. First time I tap in on it, same as the web, it needs to render the PDF. And once that's done, I will see the old Common App PDF here, 2011, a blast from the past. If I tap the screen, I can get a full screen reading experience, and I can just swipe right to left or left to right to move from page to page. Or I can use these bookmarks. So I can jump directly to the supplement or to the transcript or recommendations, etc. So giving your reviewers the ability to jump directly to the information they need to access to make their reviews quickly, efficiently, and easily. If I find information that that I think is a great example of one of the score areas that we're scoring applicants on, within the iPad, something that's not yet part of the web version is annotation. So I can tap this little highlight button here and drag my finger across some text that I feel is a good piece of evidence for one of the competencies we're looking for. So let's just say these first couple sentences here I think are a great example of character. So this is these all represent specific score areas within our scorecard: academics, test scores, intended major, extracurriculars, character, and fit. And I'm going to choose character. And I can simply tap this Add Evidence button, and this evidence will be sent from this essay directly to that score area. So the concept is, as I'm moving through this application, just like on the web, I'm collecting evidence as I go, and then when I get to the scoring area, which I'll tap on, and I'll go to the character area, I'll have a few different pieces of evidence that I can use along with any manually added evidence that I can add here. Great character throughout. And I can use that information to determine what my score is for this specific review area. Something else that's cool that I like about the iPad is I can tap this little microphone button depending on what iPad you have. William has great character, and I can just speak. Ooh, I can just speak as well, and I can add that. So, so you don't have to type on the iPad. You can dictate your review information.
That'd be great when you're reviewing applications on the plane. That'd be perfect. Which you could do, but probably want to avoid that feature on the plane. Could be tricky,
exactly. Each one of these score areas has room down below for some subscores. So here I have a recalculated GPA that I had scored previously, and I can change that just by using this little wheel. And we could set this to the 100th, as many of you use. And to score, I simply just tap on the score that I want to score. Here again, we have that rubric ability. So you have a score. This is the value that will be saved, the 1 through 5 here. But then you can give your reviewers a guide as to what you mean by a 5 for academic record with the description here. as well as a definition of academic record on each one of these tabs. When I'm ready to complete my review, I can go to the Summary tab. It gives me a summary of the scores that I've entered thus far. I haven't entered any yet, so those are blank. And then there's room for a few more fields. Summary notes to complete my review, final decision, which is the same pick list you saw on the web. Here's an example of another field called scholarship consideration. Again, we'll work with you to determine what the fields are that your reviewers will need to be capturing during the review. Also similar to the web, I can't complete this review until I've actually scored all the required fields. So I'm just going to go back and score William on each one of these score areas. And now I see that summary of what my scores are, and I can look at that same way I look at evidence to kind of determine, okay, let me write some notes about this candidate, and I'm pretty sure this is a wait list on our scale. So I can choose wait list. Now I see that the slide to finish button is lit up. I've entered values into all the required fields, and I can slide that to the right, and now that is a completed review that can no longer be edited. I see a color code change. So blue is brand new. Green means I've completed the review. And if I just tap on an application, it's in progress, and that turns orange. So you can quickly kind of see where you're at with your application list. The other thing I want to show you on the iPad is what it would look like for a later stage of review. So here I'm a director for Kayla Abrams. You see the director label here in the status cap. If I go to the scoring area, I'm now able to view the evidence that's been entered by prior reviewers. So here Monica and Suzanne and Keith have all entered, have all done some annotation for William, or for Kayla, I should say, for each one of these score areas. And I can just scroll to read their comments. I can add my own comments at the bottom. And if I want to see their scores and final decisions, I click on this graph at the top. So I'm very easily able to build on their reviews by looking at their comments, looking at their final decisions. If I have multiple stages of review, I can also compare. So I see, where there's agreements and where there's disagreements. It seems like there's disagreement all around for Kayla, and then make my final decision on the Summary tab as well. So that is the iPad app. Brian, happy to answer any other questions, or
that sounds great. Why don't you pass the screen back to me if you don't mind, and we'll go over some of the items here that people have asked. It's great. Thank you for that demonstration, Angel, as well. One thing that has come up is the question of, do you require the use of the TargetX application cloud to use the decision tools?
And the answer is no. So certainly you can use the app on the TargetX application, and we hope you do. But we have many customers who are, for example, Common App exclusive. And so for those customers, we have automated integrations with the Common App to pull in documents and applicant data, and you'd be able to view and review all that information within our Decision Cloud product. Great.
And if to use the Decision Cloud, do you have to be a TargetX CRM user, TargetX CRM client? I'm not sure why you wouldn't be, but
no.
It's a good question.
And the answer is yes and no. So for the web version, you do need to be a CRM customer because it is built within the CRM. But the iPad is platform agnostic, so we could configure the iPad Decision Cloud reader for customers that are not TargetX CRM customers.
Sounds good. Some other questions here, and then maybe we can start, you can jump in there and take a look at some of them as well. I think there's some that you can help me answer. Chris has a good one here. At the bottom of the list, do reviewers have to be Salesforce users, or can non-users utilize systems? So first of all, we're assuming that you are a TargetX CRM customer, and do you have to have a Salesforce license for that? And that is one of those yes and no as well. For the iPad version, no, you can utilize the iPad to have access to that. But on the web-based version one, there is the option of using the employee community licenses. One thing that we might not have talked about here is that the web-based version of Decision Cloud is utilizing Salesforce Communities, a very robust portal-like environment. Much like our application we showed last week also uses communities. There's actually a unique licensing with communities called an employee license, which allows a user to have an employee license without having a Salesforce license as well, and they can access it through a unique login right to the web. So again, back to that faculty example is a really good one, is that those folks, you may not want to give them full CRM licensing because they don't really need it, but you can give them access to read the applications when they need to, going through that access point. Good question, Chris.
Yeah, great question. I have a question here from Josh. How much control do admins have over the look and feel of the Visualforce pages displaying the PDF documents? So during implementation, we will configure it to look similar to what you saw on the page. But if you have Visualforce chops and folks who are comfortable with CSS, you certainly, just like the rest, many of our CRM functionality features, you certainly can update those Visualforce pages, make updates to yourself to map new fields and change the look and feel of them. So that is there's a standard implementation, but again, if you want to update them, you have the control to do that.
Cool. I'll take the next one here from Mariette. Demonstrating reports available. I don't think we have any reports available for today's webinar, but it's important to note that all of this data is going directly into Salesforce, so all Salesforce reporting and dashboards are completely available to build those. I can certainly envision a dashboard for admissions directors to manage the load of decisions in progress versus those that are done, and maybe even see a dashboard as to maybe seeing some preferential treatment and the weighting amongst the different staff, who's scoring higher, who's scoring lower, for example, across their files that they're reading in the Decision Cloud. But you have full report and dashboard access to build those as well. We'd certainly be able to help you with that if need be.
Absolutely. I see a question from Iqbal here. Can you assign a norming file to all users and review their scores? So this is actually a great question and something I've seen some customers do. And the concept is you want to make sure your reviewers are reviewing fairly and equitably and the same across each reviewer. You don't want an applicant to have the benefit of a generous reviewer or to be at the detriment of a tougher reviewer. So norming files is one great way to do that. So you certainly could assign one application to multiple reviewers in the same role, and then use reports and dashboards to look at averages and determine who's maybe scoring a little high on some of our dimensions, who's scoring a little low, and then follow that up with some calibration exercises to get your readers to understand where their strong points and weak points are. So that's a great question.
Awesome. A couple questions on licensing. So as we mentioned, there is a licensing with the community. So when you have non-Salesforce users that need to have access to this, they'll need an employee community license. And those are named user licenses that you obviously can manage within the system as assigning those users. And as far as the minimum or maximum number of applications required in that license, there is no minimum or maximum number of applications, though the account exec here at TargetX will work with you on the different packages based on how many applications you traditionally get. We are very aware that some of our clients are very large clients, and some of our clients who have a lot more needs, and some of our clients have very few people in the staff and a much smaller number of applications, and making sure that those are equitable amongst the different size schools. So our TargetX account exec will help you with that. I'll talk to you about that in just a little bit as well.
So I see a great question here from Zach Rosen. Zach, if you're the Zach Rosen I know, how you doing? Can the automation after, if it must be, can the automation after a reader makes a decision be delayed? For example, after application marked as waitlisted is reassigned 2 days later versus instantly, or only instantly. So the answer is yes, it can be delayed. So part of that automation is you can create an immediate task. So that's what I showed you today. Is as soon as this value, as soon as this completed box is checked and this value is in the decision field, create that review. There's also scheduled tasks. So you could do the same thing on a schedule exactly as you described. In 2 days, I want this specific review to be created, and set the owner to this person and the review type to this. So that is possible.
And Angel, what's the platform tool that you're using to create those automations? Is that Flow?
I use Process Builder, which is, you could use Flow. Flow is more powerful. So if you have a pretty complex, where there's like a lot of trees, then Flow is probably the best tool. But the Process Builder is new in the Spring 15 Salesforce release, and it's a pretty good user interface, really easy to visualize your workflow, true, false, if the decision is this, do this, otherwise do this. And that's what I use to build the automations I showed today.
That's awesome. I know we're going to have some of that at our summit this summer, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. All right, let's go on to just a couple of things. We only have about 5 more minutes left here, and we will jump into, I will skip over slides for some reason, hitting the button too many times. Anyway, so we're really focused on the automation of the workflows for these reviewer assignments. We think that's a really powerful feature within the solution to help improve the automation, improve the efficiency within your staff. Next one here, Angel, flexible user permissions.
Yeah, so we showed a lot of different functionality today, and the power of the CRM is you can set your user permissions to whatever best suits your process. So if you want to limit a review to only the person who it's assigned to, and only a super user can update reviews, you have the power to do that. Or if you have a more open environment, or you're using queues, you can set your profiles to accommodate that as well. So it's one of the powers of the CRM is you have a lot of flexibility in setting up your user permissions and profiles.
Cool. And as we mentioned, the web-based version uses Salesforce Communities, so the named licensed version of Employee Communities is available for those that don't have an enterprise license already. And then we've got some things on the product roadmap. This is not only has the iPad version at a very mature state with clients already using this over the past couple of years, as a matter of fact, but the web-based version that has now been launched, we've even got a roadmap going past the first version as well. Want to talk about a couple of those?
Absolutely. So the first is enhancement to image integration. We can now integrate with an imaging system using our integration tool to pull in documents directly into the CRM. Some folks have already asked us about if they wanted to somehow link out to images that are on the imaging system. Is that something that the platform can handle? And we're on the roadmap is researching and accommodating that request. And then calculating review time. So similar to the question around having a file that a number of readers would read, so you could calibrate your readers, we're going to add the ability to determine how long are your reviewers spending on each application. We did an exercise with one of our customers where we did calculate review times on the iPad and found that some folks were spending 4 times as long as other folks on applications. And so it provides you another opportunity to manage your readers and make sure that they're spending the amount of time that you think is appropriate for each review.
Yeah, and I can imagine that building that kind of analytics into the dashboard would be really powerful for a director to have at their fingertips.
Absolutely, and as folks begin using the web version, we certainly are open to feedback and hoping that you, our customers, will help us continue to add things to the roadmap that you feel will benefit your process. Very
cool. All right, good news is availability today. I love when I can say something is available today. So this is, as the iPad version I just mentioned has been available for some time and is really powerful. The web-based version is also now available, and we're looking to certainly have more clients utilize that in their next cycle of reviewing applications. To learn more about that, learn about pricing, learn about the process of getting things set up for your organizations, contact your TargetX sales executive. If you're not a current client or you're not sure who your TargetX sales executive is, just send us an email at sales@targetx.com and we will get you connected right away. All right, I think we've answered all the questions in the room, and I hope that everybody enjoyed learning about the Decision Cloud. Angel, thanks so much for an awesome demonstration of both of those versions of the Decision Cloud. They did a great job.
Thank you.
I thank you all for joining us. We are at the hour mark. Angel, thanks so much. I hope everybody has a great rest of the day. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to your sales exec, sales@targetx.com, or either myself or Angel. We'd be glad to answer any questions for you, and I look forward to working with you in the near future. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thanks, Angel.
Thank you. Goodbye.